Today's objective is solving mathematical and scientific formulas and other literal equations for a specified variable. So basically we are solving literal equations for a specified variable. Now this is one of the most important topics that you are going to learn in algebra, because we do so many questions in algebra, and you can get use of the Desmos calculator if you are able to do this thing. So this is one of the most important topic that you need to learn. It's not very difficult because you have the background knowledge of how to do it. You just need to understand that we are rewriting or rearranging the formulas and equations. Rewriting in terms of a specific variable. Blank are equations that contains two or more variables, literal equations. So if your equation has more than one variable, they are called literal equations. More than one variable, more than one different variables. So x and y, they are two different variables. That's why it's a literal or linear equation in this specific example. Ax plus by equals c. This formula is called standard linear equation, which you already have it in your reference chart. And then this one is the same thing. They all are similar to each other. You have 1.2x plus 3.9y equals 17.6. So you have two different variables here. Mathematical formulas look like something like that. M stands for slope, change of y over change in x. So 2 point of y minus 2 point of x. Or area equals half base times height. That's the area of a triangle. So this is two examples of the mathematical formulas. Scientific formulas are something like that, which we basically kind of use in scientific conversion or scientific calculation. This is for Celsius degree is F over 9. Parentheses F minus 32. Force equals mass multiplied by acceleration. F equals ma. This is what you do in science. And this is D equals RT. And this is the speed formula that you also need in science. Rearranging formulas by solving them for a certain variable or certain letter. Variable is what we call missing letter or unknown letters. Can simplify calculation or make graphing technology possible. So mainly this is to get help from your Desmos calculator. To get help from your Desmos. Example number 1. Compare the process. So we are going to compare the process used to solve the equation 5x plus 10 equals 30 to the process used to solve 5x plus 10y equals 30. So we are going to see how the steps are similar. They cannot be same, but how they are similar. All right, solve for 5x plus 10 equals 30 for x. I have to solve for x. Solve for x means isolate x or make x alone. Or have your answer written as x equals something. So this is what it means. Solve for x means your answer should be written in terms of x. How do you do that? You already know it. 5x plus 10 equals 30. I have to solve the x. So the first thing we were doing we were drawing the line in the center. I need this. So first thing I would do is minus 10 on both sides. Opposite operation, subtract 10 on both sides. And this is 0. This is 30 minus 10 is 20. This goes down, so 5x equals 20. Now this is the time, so divide by 5 on both sides. X equals 4. So this is in terms of x. or solve for x. So this is in terms of x. I have the x by itself, x equals 4. So you already know this step. This we are familiar with at this point. This is very simple as well. Solve 5x plus 10y equals 30. Now this is literal equation because you have two different variables. In this case, we only had one variable, which was x. So it was easy to find the x. Over here, technically, you cannot find any variable here because you have two missing variables. So you can't really find any of them at this point. And I have to solve for y. So first thing you have to do is pay attention what you need over here. Solve for y. Again, my answer should look like in terms of y, or simple as that, I need to have y equals something. This is the format my answer should look like. This is what my answer must look like. So the steps are not that bad. They are actually very straightforward. Copy the question down. 5x plus 10y equals 30. Now the trick in the beginning is you need to solve for y. So hide the y. Make the partition line so that you keep the left and the right hand side. So you need to solve for y. Isolate this. You see 5x. This whole thing needs to go on the other side because my answer, only y should stay here. Only y should stay here. Everything else needs to go on the other side of the equation. When anything goes on the other side of the equation, you do the opposite operation. There is nothing over here, so it has to be the plus x. This whole thing needs to go on the other side. From left to the right, that means I do opposite operation. So I'm going to do subtract 5x here. Now notice this is just 30. It is not x. So my negative 5x will be actually written over here on the side. You can't really combine these two. They are different. So it needs to be on the side. This is 0, $5. Take away $5. 0. Copy this thing down. Plus 10y or just 10y equals, copy this thing down because you cannot write 25. This is not 25. This is just 30 and this is negative 5x. So you cannot do 30 minus 5x and write as 25x. That is wrong. They are two different terms. You cannot combine them. These are two different terms. You just copy them down like that. Now, my answer should be solving for y. It should be y by itself. Right now, it is not, y is not by itself. It is 10 times y because there's nothing here in between. So this is 10 times y. So opposite of times is division. I'm going to divide 10 over here and I'm going to divide 10 like this on both of them like that. It needs to be written like this. So 10 divided by 10 is 1. You are left with y here equals 10 divided by 30 divided by 10, or simplify the fraction in the calculator. It is 3. And then simplify minus 5 over 10 in the calculator as well. This is negative 1/2. And then x should stay there because x is still here. So this is solving for y because if you notice, I have the equation as y equals something. So all you have to do is when you have to solve for a certain variable, you keep that variable over here on this hand side and everything else needs to go on the other side by doing opposite operations one by one. So basically opposite of PEMDAS. If you want to write the PEMDAS down, you probably notice we did the opposite. The first thing we would do is the addition subtraction, and then we do is multiplication and division. So it's in the opposite direction when we are isolating a variable or solving for a certain variable. Now this equation is important because this could actually be graph This could be graphed in Desmos, and I can tell you what is the slope and the y-intercept of this line, and I can make my life easy in algebra by doing this step. All right, we have a bunch of examples over there. Let's see how many. First step, we need to solve for y. So you draw the line and hide the y so we can see what we have. It's a plus 4x, do the opposite. So subtract 4x here and subtract 4x here. On the side, because there's no x. This is 0. Bring down the y equals 20 minus 4x. And I have my answer because I have in terms of y. I don't need further division. I have solved for y. Solve for y, y equals something. There should not be a problem. So pause over here and do example number 2 right away. Example number 3. I have to solve for y, so I'm gonna hide the y and see what do I have over here. This whole thing needs to go on the other side. So minus 2x here and minus 2x here. This is 0. Bring down the 3y equals 12 minus 2x. Copy everything down. It's 3y, not just y. I need y equals something. So this is 3 times. So I'm gonna divide by 3. And y is equals to, I'm just going to use my calculator to simplify the fraction separately. Write it like this to make your life easy. 12 over 3 from the calculator is 4, and this is repeating decimal, so just leave it like that, negative 2/3 x. Pause here, do question number 4. Question number 5. I need to solve for y, so y is equals to something. So hide the y wherever it is and do the opposite operation of what you see. Minus 2x, opposite should be plus 2x on both sides. Remember, whatever you do on the left, you have to do it on the right. This is 0. Bring down the negative 4y equals 12 plus 2x. I still don't have y by itself. It is multiplied by negative 4, so divide by negative 4. Circle this number here, negative 4, so that you remember you divide by whatever the number is over here, plus or minus. You divide using that number. So you divide by negative 4 across, and once you do that, just use the calculator to simplify. 12 divided by negative 4, I got negative 3. And negative plus 2 over negative 4, just put that in the calculation and put the fraction in. This should be negative 1/2 x. Solve number 6 right after that. Number 7 is similar. It's just bigger numbers. It's not a problem. The only thing is, I have to solve for t. So t is over here. We are so used to of looking at this. We are moving the stuff from the left to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my life easy. I'm going to put that equal sign and a over here. And now I know I have to solve for t. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract the 1052 and put it on the other side. I don't have much room, so I'm going to shift everything down here. So this is gone. Bring this down. This is 1.08t equals a minus 1052. Now I still don't have t. Solve for t means t equals something. It should be t equals something. So I divide by whatever the number is over here with the t, which is 1.08. This is 1, so I'm left with t equals a over 1.08 minus 1052 over 1.08. I'm not going to simplify using calculator because if I have to solve something over here, I will just directly use the calculator. It's too much of the decimals. Eight is easier. You have to solve for W. Shift the P over there and then do the same process as we have been doing on the top examples. Question number 9, I have to solve for W. Now look where the W is. W is on the top as 4 plus W. So if I hide the W, I see the plus 4, but the problem is the fraction. So the first thing you want to do is avoid that fraction. So you multiply both sides by that denominator. So times 30 here, times 30 here. Both sides. So that's what you do. I don't need a fraction here. That's a troublemaker. Now 30 times A is 30A equals 4 plus W, and this 30 cancels the 30 out. It's 30 divided by 30 is 1. So it's 1. So it's gone. So I don't have any fraction, better. I need the W, hide it. It's a plus 4 over here. All I'm going to do is opposite operation of negative 4 on both sides. So 4 minus 4 is 0. It's gone. I'm left with W. Bring it down. Equal sign. And then just it's negative 4 plus 30A. Or you can write it as W equals 30A minus 4, because we like to keep our negatives inside and positives outside in the front. They both are the same things. Number 10 is similar. It's not a big deal. You just have to first identify. I have to solve for H. H is over here, and there's no plus and minus in the middle. That means everything is being multiplied. So isolating the H, hide the H and see, oh, I have these two things that are being multiplied here. So what is the opposite of multiplication? Divide. So I'm going to divide that pi r squared on both hand sides. And that's this and this is canceled with each other. I'm left with h on this hand side, and I'm left with v over pi r squared on that side, and that's my answer because I have it as h equals something. This is just the mirror image. Number 11 is very simple as well. There are so many ways you can do this question, and I'm going to show you the easy ones because they're not asking me to multiply. I could do that, but all they want me to have it y by itself. So y equals something. So if I hide the y, I see is a plus 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite operation of minus 3 and then put that minus 3 away on the other side. You don't want to put minus 3 over here because if you notice, this is a set of parentheses with an x in. So just leave it alone. Don't bother this thing. Just put a minus 3 on the side. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring down the y equal, and let's just copy this thing down. This will work. If I have to simplify, I can distribute over here, but at this point, they needed the y by itself, and I have it. If you notice, it is y equals something, so I got it. That's all you had to do. So go ahead on your own, try question number 12, and see if you are able to make this equation or y alone by itself. And see if it works. It should. It's an easy one. Just follow the steps from the top. One trick is if you're needing the y, try to hide the y and see what you see. And just do the opposite operation. Question number 13 is a word problem. We do word problems of this kind more in details later, but let's see which one is this. Matt spent total $19 on 2 hot dogs and 5 trays of nachos for his family at the football game. Write an equation representing Matt's purchase. So what exactly Matt did? He spent $19. So he spent $19 on buying 2 different things. He purchased 2 hot dogs and 5 trays of nachos. So what I'm gonna do is, I have the hot dogs and nachos are 2 different things. So when you have 2 different things, you name them or you give them 2 different variables. Hot dogs is going to be X and nachos is going to be Y. So 2 hot dogs means 2 times the X or 2X. He spent $19 on buying the total, so it's going to be plus. It's just like you are Matt and you are spending $19 buying 2 hot dogs, so 2X, and then 5 nachos, so it's going to be a plus. That's what you are getting. 2 hot dogs and 5 nachos, so 5Y. This is the equation that Matt has now for his purchase. Matt could not find the price of the nachos. Oh, Matt doesn't know what nachos are, so this was question mark. So Matt needs to figure out what is Y. But he did see a sign advertising hot dogs. Isolate the variable representing the price of the nachos. This list helped me, so I am going to ask you to make that list on the side so it helps you. It says he did not see, so isolate the variable representing nachos. So isolate Y. Make Y alone. Your answer should be written as Y equals something. So the steps are same. Copy the top equation down. Hide the Y because I need the Y. Do the opposite. Put a plus in the front because it's a plus. Do the opposite operation. Negative 2x here and negative 2x farther on the side. Negative 2x plus 2x, 0. Cross it out. Bring down the 5y down. Equal sign 19 minus 2x. Copy everything down. Now, I don't have the y yet. I have 5 times the y, so I need the final step of division on all of them one by one like this. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. I have y equals 19 divided by 5. Since I need my calculations, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write the decimal values for these numbers. So what you can do is, if you don't know the decimal values, you can simply use the calculator and put the decimal values and solve them. So 19 over 5 is 3.8. And then negative 2/5 is negative, I believe 4. Decimal 4. X, 0.4x. So yes, isolate the y. That's what I did. It matches with what I needed. The next part of the question says, if the hot dogs were advertised for $2 per hot dog, so I know what exactly the what is the cost for the hot dogs. What did Matt pay for each tray of nachos? So I need to figure out how much was each tray of nachos. Each tray of nachos was like this. Y equals 3.8 minus 0.4x. And x is the one cost for 1 hot dog, which is the x. It's written hot dogs for x. Y is equals to 3.8 minus 0.4 parentheses x and x is the cost of hot dog. X is given as $2, so replace that x with 2. Use parentheses for substitution. Make a note over here. Always use parentheses for substitution or plug-in. I'm gonna write, I need space, I'm gonna write over here. So y is equals to, this part can be solved in the calculator because you have a calculator and you need it so that you can solve the math correctly. I entered this whole thing in the calculator, this part. And when I entered that part in the calculator, I got y is equals to 3. So each nachos is basically $3. I can check my work. It's algebra. The fun part is I can always check. So X was the hot dogs. I'm going to use this equation and see if my spending is matching with 19. So 2 and X was the hot dogs, which were $2. And 5, Y was the nachos, which is 3. So 4 times 4 plus 15 is 19. And yes, it works. So go ahead, finish the rest of the questions by showing all your steps.